Gender is, unlike your biological sex, you get to pick it.
I know there's a difference between gender and sex, but I don't really know the difference.
The sex with which a person chooses to identify, and so there can be multiple categories. There can be male, female, anywhere in between.
Gender, I guess, would be like your sexual orientation.
People can identify their gender on a range.
Gender is a social construct that people use to try to determine whether people fit in masculine stereotypes or feminine stereotypes.
I personally identify as a woman just because I guess I like more of the stereotypical girly things like makeup.
Gender, I think, is something that's a social norm that's kind of defined by society, whereas sex is biological. You're born either male or female.
What is gender? Well, the Phillips Academy cookie cutter statement is gender is a social construct that is not assigned at birth, and that kind of has a lot of different influences, and that it differs from sex because sex is a biological thing that we're born with, whereas gender is a spectrum that we can identify with different parts of. I don't really know what gender is. I mean, I think it's kind of a trend right now to explore gender, what it means. I don't think anybody really knows. There's a lot of different components to it. Facebook puts a number on it, I think like 56, but yeah, they just came out with this whole thing where you can like have different, like, you know, instead of male and female, there's like 56 different options. So now I'm a cis hetero male or something like that. I don't know. I don't see it, but, and then people still complain. They're like, well, you didn't have my gender in there, so I don't know. There's a lot.
Pretty things like makeup and perfume and jewelry and nice clothes and always being put together and acting like a lady.
Fragility, being sensitive, expressing emotions, more passive.
I guess women are put into this category of being like very docile, subservient. They like pink and like pretty colors, you know, they like kittens and painting their nails and gossiping with their friends.
Anything that involves physical exertion.
Toughness, like muscularity would be masculine.
The typical boy is someone who like likes watching football on TV and eating wings and
More macho, tough guy, less emotion, stern.
Masculinity is assertion, is power, is dominance.
Well, I think androgyny is typically associated with someone who doesn't really adhere to traditional definitions or societal definitions of masculinity and femininity.
When I think of androgyny, I think of Michelangelo's David.
It's not really clear whether someone is male or female.
Of a person who represents masculine and feminine traits.
The combination of both masculine and feminine traits.
So feminine and masculine are something like black and white, and androgyny is the gray in between.
I heard about it, but I forgot what it meant.
People who are socially not as accepted as they maybe should be.
Kind of morphs femininity and masculinity and intertwines the two so that it's harder to tell which gender they would be associated with.
I don't really know what androgyny means.
They're very cool, like they're men, they look like women and opposite, and I think it's alright.
I don't really know what androgyny is.
I studied Greek, so I know that it means like andro means come from aner, andros, which man, and gune, which is woman.
That's kind of embarrassing because I don't really know.
Refusal to subscribe to labels and ambiguity.
I definitely think androgyny is fashionable. When I think of androgyny, the first thing that comes up is probably America's Next Top Model.
Baggy gray t-shirts, only because I saw that once in a magazine. And it had a model that I couldn't quite tell if it was a girl or a guy.
See, I don't really think gender can be a trend.
Tons of models who, I mean, feminine men and masculine women
And because they're like interesting and unique and they appeal to a wider audience, a lot of fashion brands like to use models that have something unique to offer.
I think it goes in and out of fashion. I think that fashion's an opinion for a lot of people.
I think that's the whole point behind fashion.
It's kind of an outward expression of yourself.
I think fashion can say a lot about a person. I think a lot of people conform to a general sort of standard at their school or at their community.
At least at Andover, we're very fortunate that we don't have a dress code, so we can express ourselves. A lot of people do end up wearing like similar things just out of convenience.
Clothes that you wear are generally the clothes that you've chosen for yourself, so they reflect your choices as a person. Maybe for girls more than guys.
You can do you. I don't.
I don't wear makeup, but it's more for the fact that I don't really know how to put it on or use it.
I do wear makeup because I just find it pretty.
I do, but I'm not proud of it.
I think it should be, just because I think there's a good number of people who identify primarily as male and primarily as female and don't feel that there's a range, and I think it would just be confusing otherwise, but people who want to experiment with different clothing can visit different sections and that sort of thing.
Not necessarily. I think in terms of body type, there's certainly a difference.
Males and females are built differently.
Just because I would be confused if I walked into a store and like all the boys' clothes were mixed up with the girls' clothes.
I don't really think so. Like anyone can like walk into a store and like buy whatever they want.
Say, oh, this shirt is really cute, and then realize it's for a boy.
They are fitted to the shape of a certain gender. Obviously, men wouldn't wear bras, and dresses probably wouldn't fit a lot of guys.
Obviously, I think a lot of the pink stuff would be on like skirts. You probably wouldn't get a lot of guys that want to wear that.
I've bought a sweatshirt.
No.
I've bought a lot of clothes from.
No, I haven't.
I have not, no.
Well, I've bought, I guess, multiple jackets.
Oh yeah, all the time.
I've gotten running short shorts from a thrift store that were once intended for a female.
I don't think so.
I do feel like people look at me as if I'm buying for like my brother or boyfriend or something, but
I've definitely been called a lesbian.
I don't think that that guys and girls should be judged based on what they wear.
You know, personality.
Jennifer Aniston.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.